It's All Today live from the couch with Carolina Bermudez, John Elliott, and Lisa Kearney.
So health warnings. Yeah, energy drinks come under scrutiny as tens of thousands land in the emergency room. What you need to know about the popular beverages that I too enjoy. Hey, this debate goes on too. A boost in energy is leading to a boost in trips to the ER. As TV 1055's Dr. Max Gomez reports, a new study suggests popular energy drinks are sending thousands of young adults to the hospital.
Energy drinks are super popular, especially with young adults.
It kind of gives me like a boost.
College junior Alan Abershami works late nights at a restaurant, so he uses them to stay awake.
During the middle of the shift, I'll feel tired and I'll knock one down.
But the drinks are landing more and more people in the emergency room.
It's the first question I ask when I see a young person with a rapid heartbeat and anxiety is, have you taken any energy drinks?
A report from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration says ER visits doubled in the last 4 years, from about 10,000 to more than 20,000. Doctors say those high doses of caffeine and other additives can cause a number of reactions.
It's going to be really symptoms of taking a stimulant. So you're going to have nervousness, rapid heart rate, anxiety.
In recent years, sales have soared for the top 3 energy drink companies, Red Bull, Monster, and Rockstar. And marketers' main target is young people. The government report found those same young people, ages 18 to 25, were the most common age group to need emergency treatment.
I get really jittery, I get really hyper. It makes me want to kind of pace, and I just don't feel good.
The American Beverage Association criticizes the report, saying many of those who end up in the ER are also consuming alcohol or drugs. Dr. Max Gomez, TV 1055.
Okay, here's what people don't realize when they're downing those energy drinks. Having 3 of them is the equivalent of 15 cups of coffee.
Really? Wow. Well, no wonder more and more people are going to the hospital. Joining us this morning to explain the dangers of energy drinks is heart surgeon Dr. David Gruner. So, thank you for joining us.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Welcome back. He's one of America's most attractive doctors. We learned that on the doctors last week. Yes,
we learned that on the doctors. Thank you for being here. Now, tell us how these stimulants work.
Well, stimulants work in 2 ways. Most of them are diuretics. So if you think about it in a really simple way, when you stimulate organs, they increase the oxygen demand, because oxygen is the way organs survive. It's basically food. And blood carries oxygen to tissue. If you cause dehydration, which decreases your amount of circulating blood, and you cause the organs to work harder, there's 2 effects that kind of work in synergy to worsen the situation. You have less ability to carry oxygen to the tissue, and you increase their demand. So it's a recipe for disaster.
Well, yeah, so that would make, then if they're going to the gym, it's going to be a problem. But is it the drinks themselves or what people are mixing the drinks with?
That's a really hard question to answer. A lot of these drinks are herbal-based, so they're poorly studied. Somebody finds a new herb and then puts it in a drink, and it works well for a certain situation, but it may not work so well for another. But there's no real randomized control studies documenting the safety profile on a lot of these things.
But what happens when somebody mixes that energy drink with alcohol?
Well, the alcohol has the dehydration factor again, so you run into the poor oxygen delivery situation, which can end up, you're basically starving the tissues of fuel. So you can run into problems like renal failure, you can run into problems like seizures when the brain doesn't get enough oxygen, you can run into problems like palpitations and even heart attacks in predisposed people.
So this paradigm of the oxygen delivery, that would explain why any time before the gym is a bad idea for these drinks, right?
Yeah, in general, it's not a great idea to try any poorly studied substance. But if you're going to do it, use it with a modicum of safety. Use it in small amounts until you know how your body reacts. Don't mix it with other drugs, and make sure that you're very, very well hydrated prior to usage.
Well, I was at my corner store, in our own neighborhood, and I see a lot of the kids in the middle school that's nearby, and they'll go in and they'll buy like 3 of them. Just in one shot. So how many should people consume in one day? Like, let's say that you do need an energy drink. What's
safe to drink?
Should or can you consume? Well, okay, how much should you consume?
I think it would depend on your size, what you're going to do, how well you're hydrated. I mean, it's probably irresponsible of me to make an assumption on what you should consume. But everybody's different. Some people are more sensitive to coffee, some people are not. Some people can drink 1 drink, and some people can drink 10. It's just a matter of how your body reacts to certain things. But in general, small amounts.
Well, you've talked about some of the worst-case scenarios with renal failure or problems with the brain. What are some of the other side effects from these drinks?
You know, just things that increase central nervous system activity, jitteriness, nervousness, anxiety, the same things that, you know, these are used for therapeutically, like increasing focus, can be bad things when used in too much, in too large of amount.
So do you have a message for the young adults who seem to be the ones who are typically drinking a lot of these drinks?
Yeah, in general, you know, like I said before, you know, make sure that you're well hydrated. If you're going to use them for short amounts of time, use them in small amounts, and don't mix it with other substances.
All right, I'll confess I use them.
Yeah,
but I don't
does.
use them every day, maybe a couple times a week. But if I have one of these, there's the small one and then there's the big one. How long does it take to clear that stuff out of your system?
You know, that would depend on what's involved in it. Like I said, a lot of these things are herbal, and the half-lives are poorly studied. So, you know, you turn the corner every day and some new herb is on the market, and nobody knows exactly, you know, a scientific basis behind it. But caffeine in general, half-life should last you about half the day. So if you think about a cup of coffee and caffeine is the active ingredient in a lot of these things, that's a good rule to go by.
But that really is the problem with this. There's no study and there are no definitive answers for the whole variety of drinks that are out there, right?
Yeah, the FDA is really starting to realize that this is a problem and really starting to crack down on a lot of these things. So I think we can, you know, anticipate some stricter regulation in the future.
Okay, I have to put you on the spot. Do you ever have energy drinks?
I do every now and then.
Really?
I have to admit, yeah. But I try not to mix it with anything else. I don't take any prescription drugs, and I make sure that I'm well hydrated.
And you know your own body.
Yeah.
See, I know, you know, I only do what I can handle.
It's the same as drinking coffee, like you said before. You know, it's the same as 15 cups of coffee. Would you ever drink that at one particular time? Exactly.
All right, well, I mean, really interesting stuff. So thank you, Dr. Gruner, for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thanks for hanging out.
Good luck with the puppy.
Thank you.
I've seen stuff there.